This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. The owner of a 140-year-old landmark in Indiana's oldest city is looking for help in bringing the building back to life. Andy Barmas says he wants to transform the former Knox County Poor Asylum in Vincennes into a hospice facility, but the building is in serious need of rehabilitation.
The bottom line is we need a facility to open up the hospice, whether we build from ground up, brand new, which is very expensive, or whether we rehab this historic building. It would be fantastic for this community.
During its heyday, the Knox County Poor Asylum housed a variety of individuals who would work in exchange for housing and food. It has sat vacant since 2004. The building was included on last year's 10 Most Endangered list from Indiana Landmarks. Business publication Fast Company has released its list of the world's most innovative companies, and one Indiana institution is among the top 50, even though it's not even a company. Purdue University came in at number 16, beating out other well-known brands such as NASA and the Walt Disney Company. Rolls-Royce North America in Indianapolis has begun testing of the F-130 engine that will eventually power the U.S. Air Force fleet of B-52s. The engines, as part of a $500 million contract awarded in 2021, will be manufactured and assembled at facilities in Indy. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana business and community leaders, you're invited to a roadshow unlike any other. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation are joining forces for the Engage Indiana series, presented by Indiana University and Old National Bank. A focus on talent, education, and issues that shape our economy. 7 regional events, 1 shared purpose, advancing the future of Indiana. Discover more at ibj.com/engage.
For the second time this week, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Indiana has announced a federal grand jury indictment charging an employee of a Du Bois County nonprofit with wire fraud.
The indictment alleges Michelle Rose of Jasper embezzled more than $150,000 from a nonprofit healthcare organization where she served as the medical staff coordinator. While the name of the nonprofit was not released, previous articles on the website of Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center in Jasper named Michelle Rose in that position. According to court documents, Rose allegedly used her position to embezzle the money by writing 165 fraudulent checks to herself from March 2011 to December 2020 for reimbursement of purchases she never made. Rose allegedly concealed the fake reimbursements by omitting them from financial reports to the nonprofit's leadership. The grand jury indictment was unsealed on Tuesday, following Rose's arrest and initial court appearance. Rose was indicted on 12 counts of wire fraud and, if convicted, faces up to 30 years in prison. The news comes just days after Ellen Korn of Petersburg was indicted for allegedly embezzling more than $156,000 from Jasper-based Mentors for Youth, for which she served as executive director. Korn faces 15 counts of wire fraud and could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Wes Mills, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
St. Louis-based Stifel Nicolaus & Company is suing a newly formed Indianapolis firm, Sapient Capital, following what Stifel describes as Sapient's orchestrated raid of Stifel's 96th Street office. Big money is at play. According to Stifel's legal complaint, the office, which was also known as the KCP Group, had approximately $10 billion in client assets under management as of mid-February. That, Stifel says in its complaint, is when the office's managing directors and chief operating officer abruptly quit, luring nearly all of the office's 30-plus employees to follow them to Sapient, a rival financial firm that was established several months ago. Since that time, Stifel alleges Sapient has been falsely representing that the KCP Group is the new owner of Stifel's business and has been attempting to transition Stifel's clients and their $10 billion in assets to the new firm. The newly named director of the Indiana State Department of Agriculture says disappearing farmland as a result of economic development can be a difficult conversation. Don Lamb, who is a second-generation farmer from Boone County, says those discussions are essential.
You know, there's a big thing about property rights as a farmer, too. You really want to be able to do what you can do with your own property. And if that means somebody's going to give you quite a bit of money to develop it, you don't like to limit that for farmers. So it does go both ways, and it has to be something where people are willing to step back and look at the big picture.
Lamb was tapped by Governor Eric Holcomb to take over the ISDA post, succeeding Bruce Kettler, who stepped down in January to become president and CEO of the Agribusiness Council of Indiana. Lamb is co-owner and operator of Lamb Farms, Inc., along with his brother and father. He says a life in ag prepared him for the new position.
Agriculture's been good to me, and not just as a lifestyle, but I've really been able to see the benefits of agriculture in a big picture, just in the way it's helped me to develop even with leadership and the different organizations I've been able to be involved with over the years. Kind of feels like there's been a little preparation for this moment where I might be able to give back to an industry that I've gained a lot from for a lot of years now.
The Lebanon-based farm produces popcorn, corn, soybeans, and wheat. Former Indy News anchor Fanchon Stinger is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.